All right, welcome, kings and queens. We're back in the palace, y'all. And we are talking, not this time, not so quick, not Love and Marriage Huntsville, but Love and Marriage DC. We are talking Own Network executive producer Carlos King. You guys, pause. Oh my goodness, Carlos. Oh, Carlos, I just want to see you do right by Black women. And y'all, this is a lot because it seems like the roster, the list just keeps growing. But Monique Samuels did an interview and where she talked divorce and her departure, her abrupt departure from Love and Marriage DC. And she said that working with Carlos King was a nightmare. Oh, Carlos, this is not good for you. You guys, if you go back and watch a previous video that I did, it was actually a live. And I was talking about Carlos King, and I had a little funny title and thumbnail about Carlos crashing out, you know, um, on his live and utilizing the fans, like weaponizing the fans and blaming the fans for the demise of his shows. And that segment was in particular to Love and Marriage Huntsville. But, you know, Carlos, listen, in that live, what I shared is there seems to be a particular pattern that Carlos that I've noticed that you attack your leading ladies. You tend to attack your leading ladies, and we've got to talk about this. I don't know if this is a pathology. I need to know more about what the hell is going on, Carlos. And if I can run the roster down based on my experience, what I've seen, I'm going to throw out a lot of facts. I'm going to throw out my observations and I'm going to throw out one big question mark. And then we're going to get into the nitty gritty of Monique Samuels. Mm, just that tea that she dropped about working with Carlos is a absolute nightmare. Are you shocked? Are you shocked? Number one, does Monique hold any credibility to you based on her previous experience on Bravo, her previous experience, Real Housewives of Potomac, or do you believe that it is what it is? You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as a bad experience with reality television for the simple fact you know what you sign up for, period. The producers can kind of smut you out and do what they want to do. Are you of that thinking, or do you feel like it doesn't matter who you are? That does not give a producer. I don't know. What are your thoughts? I don't want to put anything in your head, but I'm gonna give you this roster that I've noticed. I'm gonna start with the ones that have said from their own mouths that working with Carlos has been absolutely horrible for their career. Number one, Candy Burris. She said that, I mean, Candy had a very heartfelt moment when she did her interview with the House of Aaron. She broke down as she began to recant her experience with Carlos and how good she was to him. And she really thought that they were genuinely friends, so much so that she went to bat on Bravo to ensure that he received a promotion and a raise. And he was elevated to executive producer in order to produce her show, the spinoff that Bravo gave her. And she said he broke her heart because he stabbed her in the back, you guys. He stabbed her in the back. He tried to undermine her and went behind her back without her permission, without talking to her as a friend. Keep in mind, she thought they were friends. She leased out, or he had an office space in her building. I mean, they were, according to Candy, close. And there was no reason for him to do this as a friend. So we got Candy Burris, number one. Number two, we have Winter from Love and Marriage DC. So we got two facts. Candy Burris said out of her own mouth. Number two, Winter from Love and Marriage DC. I know that's a fact. Winter actually sat down with me and interviewed with me, and she broke that news on my channel in the palace with Queen Sheba. I'll put a description in that video. Number three, Melody Cherie. Then Melody Hope, but Melody Cherie Rogers. I heard Melody say out of her own mouth on her TikTok, it's the leadership, the toxic leadership. Now, she did not say Carlos King out of her mouth, but I think we all know she was insinuating that Kingdom Reign has extremely toxic leadership. Okay, when it comes to reality television production and all of that, that's number three. Number four, I want to say we got Candy Burris, we have Monique Samuels, we have Winter, Melody Cherie is number 4, and number 5. Now, this is just hearsay. I'm going to say I'm about 65% sure. You know what? Let me go 50-50. Let me not give myself that much credit. This one is going to blow you out the water. Number 5 on the roster. She's going to have to confirm this. She's going to have to okay. Shanita Foster. Shanita, I need you to confirm and or deny. Is it true that Carlos King did the same thing to you that he's allegedly did to Sheree Whitfield and Candy Burris? Is it true that Carlos King stole a concept and or a project or an idea from you? I need you to confirm or deny. That's why I said I'm 50-50. But I have been, you know what? I've been sitting on that probably for about a year and a half. And I didn't say anything because Shanita Foster was not like on reality television. But since she's popped up on reality television, I've been waiting. And Monique, thank you. Because now I can ask. But I don't know if it's true. That's why I'm going to say alleged and it's a rumor. But only Shanita can confirm that. Let's see. Maybe she will, maybe she won't. And if not, we'll say 4. Okay. But Carlos, it seems that you have a history of allegedly, I don't know. I don't want to say abusing, but putting Black women in very, very tough situations where their mental health is at risk, where they feel alienated, where it becomes a hostile work environment, where it can be quite volatile. And there's a lot of mental anguish introduced into the production of it all. Let's talk about it, y'all. For those of you who are just tuned in, or if you're new to the channel, welcome to the palace. I am Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television, but most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience.
Subscribe now.
All right. So I just want to go through this really quickly. This is what Monique had to say regarding her experience with Carlos King. I may pause it every now and then just to kind of give my real-time reaction. And then I also want you to give your reaction in the chat. Are y'all ready? Drop some yeses if you're ready. I don't want to start if you're not ready. And if you are ready, we will get this review started. All right, here we go. Looks like you all are ready.
Is it fair to say you started off with Real Housewives of Potomac?
Yeah.
Okay. Real Housewives of Potomac. Then she did Love and Marriage DC. And even there was some controversy because she was about to do Huntsville.
No, so Love and Marriage Huntsville was the franchise that opened up the door for
DC.
Okay.
Yes. But that was like a little bit of like static there, right? People was
It was a little tension because I left Bravo and went to OWN.
Right.
And then I actually casted Love and Marriage DC. So
you know what I wish he would have asked? If she regretted that, because she said it was a little tension because I left Bravo and I went to OWN. But Carlos left Bravo and went to OWN. And the reason why I said it would have been really good if he would have asked, because I want to know her thoughts on it post decision. Not her experience with Carlos, but jumping from Bravo to OWN. Does she regret that? Does she feel like she closed the door on any potential future work with Bravo because of her working with the OWN network, i.e. Carlos King? Because I feel like that would tell us a lot between the relationship that Bravo has with Carlos King. But let's continue.
So like it was the concept was supposed to be its own show, but then it was easier to umbrella, put it in the umbrella of Huntsville. So
hey, let's get into it, man. There's only one person in the audience, but let's make some noise for Miss Monique Samuels. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm really good. How you doing?
I'm all right. Why are you so good?
I have found a new level.
Okay, we're going to skip to this because I promised we were just going to jump right into it. So let me see. I'm going to skip through that. I really want to get right into the piece with Carlos. So if you can just give me a part of that. What she's actually talking about is how she's evolved and grown as a woman. She's talking about her experience as a married woman while she was married, post-divorce, and also in the process of her dating Chris, how the role that she played in the dating phases actually played out in the marriage. And maybe she set herself up for failure. Maybe we can cover that at a different time, but let's jump back to the reality of it all. Here we go.
This was a woman, a girl?
Yeah. It was my last season of Real Housewives of Potomac. Yeah, this was in 2019. That's the gift and the curse.
But this is before DC, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just
yeah.
Hey, I might have seen it on Instagram, but I'm just catching up. This is real time. Okay. Okay. So you got in the fight and you woke up.
Yeah, it woke me up. It made me realize, like, I thought I was a person that was in control of a lot of things. And then I realized I wasn't in control of anything. I was out of control. And it allowed me to kind of start looking at myself and kind of going deeper, wanting to learn about myself. I didn't realize I had certain childhood traumas. I didn't realize that I knew I was a person that didn't allow myself to feel a lot of things. I would put things on the shelf and say, I'll deal with it later. And that was unhealthy. So it caught up to me. So you have one of those incidents where you lash out on a person that really didn't do much to deserve the lashing, but it was like a lifetime of just being fed up or being poked or being frustrated. And it just all comes out at the most perfect, unperfect time. Is a lot of people saw Love and Marriage DC, and I got a lot of flack for that show. A lot of people saw Love and Marriage DC, and I got a lot of flack for that show because that's the thing about reality TV. They will show me reacting. I'm a reactor, or at least I was. I was very much a reactor. So if you
Love how she took accountability. Love how she took accountability.
You always see me reacting, and then I'm open with the cameras, but then my spouse isn't as open as me, so he's gonna be quiet. So if I'm always reacting, you're always showing me, and then you're showing him just kind of sit there like he's just taking it, you know?
Let me ask you this. Is that his nature to be quiet? Is that his nature to be quiet? I love the fact that the men get these interviews, but see, sometimes a woman can take the conversation a little bit different. Is that his nature? Is he naturally a quiet person? Or do you feel like your husband was trying to set you up on camera to look like a bitch?
But when people saw me on reality TV, that last show, Love and Marriage DC, what they saw was me at my wit's end. I was at a point where I was desperately begging and pleading for something from him. And it's funny, when we did that show, I kept telling the producers, I hope that this show will trigger something in him so that he can hear me.
Only question I have as a married woman, why go to a show as opposed to marriage counseling? I would think that a therapist could help trigger something in him to get him to realize, hey, you're really about to lose your wife if things don't change. I don't know how a reality show could do that better than an expert, but let's continue.
You know, so that he can really feel where I'm coming from. I wanted him to be vulnerable with me. I felt like I didn't really know who he was anymore. I felt like he was giving me just surface. And I would tell him all the time over the years, I'm like, I'm not one of your fans. Like, I'm your wife. Like, you can be open and vulnerable with me. Like, talk to me, you know? So what they saw was me yelling, screaming, crying, pleading, all of the above. And then finally getting to a point where I was like, if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't have walked down the aisle.
That's real. That's her truth. You heard it here first. I mean, she said, if I could do it over again, I would not have married him. But I ignored everything. Hey, that happens with money. Let's keep it real. That happens with money. But let's pause a second so we can get to the nitty gritty part regarding her experience with Carlos King.
Love and Marriage DC, let me tell you, that was my greatest nightmare, but my greatest teacher, because it basically, it put me out there without any context. Like on this show, when I tell you I was ranting and raving, I was at my wit's end with the marriage. And I was like doing all that I could. I'm like trying to get this dude to see time is of the essence. Like, I really need you to step up. I need you to wake
nigga,
up.
Please.
Yes. But imagine you being on camera and having a conversation, and now something said in the conversation that pops you off. They ain't showing nothing about that. They just showing you pop off. So when I tell you, it was like every single scene I was yelling and I was going off. And when I tell you, the whole synopsis of the show was get to know the real full me, get to know the real me. And they got me like only had me yelling and going crazy.
The angry black
right?
woman.
Yo, it was terrible. When I left Housewives, there was one of the producers that used to be a part of Housewives franchise.
She's referring to Carlos King,
who started his own. He approached me with support and came at me with some like, you know, we black and, you know.
oh my God, similar to the same way I think that he convinced Melody Cherie to move forward with Love and Marriage Huntsville, because what I can recall is Melody Cherie came up with the show idea and she was going to move forward. And then she realized that Martell Holt was still cheating. So she wanted to focus on her life and her healing as a woman. And Carlos King came and gave her a conversation or dialogue of support and promised that he was going to hold her hand and take care of her throughout the process. Oh my God, I just got chills.
You know, these white shows, they don't show black people in the light that they should. He approached me with support and came at me with some like, we black, and these white shows, they don't show black people in the light that they should be shown in, and it can be natural drama, it doesn't have to be this scripted drama. And
Wow, Carlos. Did you say that you can do a better job of showing black folks? Oh, you know what? Child.
and it created a relationship of like, all right, let's see what we can do together, let's work together. So I believed him when he used the black card, and
Mm.
he did me worse than the white folks. I
Damn.
was like, he could have waited to the second season to
So you
trash
think?
me.
So you think Love and Marriage DC did you worse than Real Housewives?
Yeah.
You heard her. She said this black executive producer treated me worse than a white man would ever, than a white show would ever.
Potomac?
Yeah.
Damn.
It was worse. It was like there was no context. There was no reason to all of the fussing and fighting.
Oh my God. So she's basically saying the drama is contrived. There's no context to it. Why are we having these conversations out of nowhere just to spark drama and hate and fights and all of this division? There's no context. There's no reason, no rhyme or reason. Does that sound familiar? But okay.
Fighting. It was like, it's Love and Marriage. So show the full outlook of what a Love and Marriage, like show what all of it looks like, right? I have always been very open on camera. Like I like to be as transparent as possible. But if my spouse is not also that way, then if you're not saying anything, they're only going to be showing what I'm saying. So it's very unbalanced. And then it was just like, we got her, dog her ass out. Like, it was like my name was used to gain the audience. And I mean, I felt like I got trashed on that show. They didn't show any of my real moments. They didn't show the moments where I gave more context to what was happening. It was just.
We're going to end it there. If you would like to see the full interview, you can on Mr. J Hill Network. Y'all, he did an awesome job with this interview. So I'm not going to play the entire thing. I do want you to go over there and check it out. Wow. She said it feels like he used my name to gain an audience. That reminds me of that podcast thing, using Melody Cherie's name to get the party started. But listen, what are your thoughts with all of this? Monique Samuels comes out to say, Carlos King, you are a nightmare. Are y'all shocked? Are you surprised? Are you like, it's a lot. Now, I'm going to say this, Monique, before we log off. What are your thoughts, y'all, just on the entire interview? Monique, I think there should be a level of accountability on your part with your husband. This entire interview, I didn't listen to the whole thing, but most of it, I don't want you tearing Chris apart. I think you're still angry about the demise of the marriage, and I really want you to settle in that until you're able to process it, so it doesn't look like you're really handing it to him as you do these interviews, because a lot of this interview was primarily focused on him and him not being what you needed him to be. Okay? Give the man a break. Unless there's more to it that we don't know. But I don't want you going out like that, against your ex-husband. Number 2, coming to reality television is never therapeutic for a marriage, in my opinion, that's having problems. You're not going to trigger nothing but a divorce, okay? You're not going to trigger no type of healing, especially if you're working with Carlos King. I said what the hell I said. Now, listen, let's take it to the chat. Thank you for tuning in. What are your thoughts, everybody?